Hello everyone, it's Felicity here, and in this video I'm going to talk about astrology and focus on the astrological houses that help you to assess your committed relationship and romantic relationship. Okay, normally when we talk about marriage or business partnership, we look at the seventh house, which is the important house, and I find it's useful to look at other houses as well. So I feel that we can also look at the fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, and eighth house to look at all these houses to see how a person will get happiness from a committed relationship or marriage, or whether the person can really stay happy, or how to help the person to overcome some kind of difficulties in a marriage or in a committed relationship. So now I'm going to explain why it's very important to look at 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 8th house as a whole. Okay, so 5th house, it's about romance, it's about children, creativity. And in a relationship, 5th house, it's also about the initial meeting, the initial sparks, and also it's about what type of people, what kind of quality in a person that attract the seeker, attract the person in question. Like fifth house is to help the seeker to understand what type of romance, what type of quality in a person that attract her or him. So this is the initial spots that really to assess, to understand whether this person is attracted to this person, or whether there are some kind of quality that help the relationship to move forward. Okay, so it's also important to remind couples that after committed in a relationship or after marriage, also it's important to look at the fifth house, to remind ourselves about the fifth house, because sometimes when difficulties comes, and we will forget about the initial spots in a relationship, the initial feelings that we have for that person. And normally rekindling the fifth house stuff can really help refresh a relationship, refresh a marriage. So the initial spots is very important to remind us what we treasure at the first place, at the beginning of the relationship. So that can really help solidate and help renew, refresh a marriage. Okay, so this is the fifth house. Initial meeting, initial sparks. And also look at fifth house to see whether this person like to have children or not. And sometimes children can break or make a marriage. Sometimes a couple can stay very healthy, stay happy until they have children. So sometimes children can break a marriage or break a committed relationship, or children can cause a lot of argument, which is the sixth house. Sixth house is also about argument, about difficulties, obstacles that need to overcome. So remind to see the fifth house, whether it's healthy or not, and to see whether children are suitable for the person or for the couple or not. Also, I feel that yes, if a couple have children, have a child, it's also important to remind the couple to strike a balance between children and romance. Sometimes when the couple busy taking care of children, they forget about their own romance. So it's very good to stay the balance in the fifth house. Romance, balance between romance and children, and how to cooperate, how to, when there's a romance in a committed relationship, in a marriage, it can also help their children to understand what healthy relationship is all about, to set a role model for the children, what healthy relationship is about. Marriage doesn't mean sacrificing romance, so this is a healthy example for the children as well. Okay, look at the fifth house. And if there's some kind of malefic aspects, and there's they have to do a lot of work, do a lot of work, and see what romance mean to the couple, and to talk about sometimes different people will have different concept of the romance, and they also have different teaching method to their children, different values to impact on the children. So look at fifth house, and there can be things done to remedy to the fifth house. Usually it's communication. It's also about ongoing communication, ongoing changing of the behavioral pattern. So fifth house, it's important. That's why fifth house is important in a marriage. It contribute to the happiness of marriage or committed relationship, or partnership. Okay, now it comes to the sixth house. Sixth house, it's enemy. It's about healthy lifestyle, day-to-day work. And so sixth house is important piece to the whole of marriage that contribute to the seventh house. And sometimes sixth house, when after initial meeting of two people, after initial meeting, whether they can make it to the seventh house or not, it really depend on the sixth house. Sixth house, okay, help you to select people into the seventh house. Sixth house is about obstacles that two people need to overcome after the initial meeting, in order to get to the next stage of the relationship, in order to get into the seventh house. And sixth house, sometimes people will break up. Maybe sometimes they are not strong enough. They have not overcome a lot of difficulties in a relationship. They have separate opinions, different opinions that separate them. Or sometimes there's not enough belief in the relationship. So sixth house is about to see whether two people have same beliefs, whether they can make it to the seventh house. Sometimes, the authority, the parents can break a relationship. Sometimes people do not get married even though they love each other, because of they are not strong enough. They listen to the authority, they listen to their parents. That's why they do not select a particular person into the seventh house. Sometimes they can listen to their parents because they don't have a strong will to be selective. They don't have a strong will to insist on getting a particular person for their own marriage, for their own happiness. So sixth house, look at sixth house, whether there's some kind of difficulty, whether there's some kind of authority influencing the person to stop choosing the fifth house star, choosing the person that they meet in the fifth house. Okay. Also, it's about enemy, right? Enemy. Sixth house is also about whether they will set a firm boundary, whether they will believe in their marriage. Okay, whether two people in a committed relationship will fight for each other, will try to protect the seventh house stuff or not. This can be seen in the sixth house. I always feel that seventh house stuff is like a castle, and sixth house is like the gate to the castle. Okay, sixth house you can see whether the person after marriage, after being in a communication in a committed relationship, whether they will set firm boundary, whether they will defend their own marriage or committed relationship or not. Look at the sixth house. So seventh house is like a castle. In front of the castle, usually we will see a steep cliff that help protect the castle, or you can see a river that help protect the castle, protect the seventh house. And you know, river it's for stopping the enemy from crossing over to reach to the seventh house. No, not everyone should be reached to the seventh house of a person. So sixth house, to see whether this person will set boundary to keep other people out from getting in, to influence the seventh house, to get ruin their relationship or not. So look at the sixth house, whether this person will set firm boundary, will really whether two people together will fight for each other or not. Sixth house stuff, to fight for each other and to cooperate with each other, to face the world, face a lot of obstacles when the world is against them, whether two people in a committed relationship will fight against the world even though the world is against them. So it's really important to look at the sixth house. If the sixth house is strong, they will fight for each other, they will protect the seventh house stuff, they will protect the castle, they will set the river, and they also will or maybe make other people difficult to reach to the seventh house. Not everyone should reach the seventh house, right? So sixth house is the protection for the castle. This is the gate for the castle, whether there's strong protection, strong gate that protect the committed relationship. Look at the sixth house. And sixth house, it's also about enemy, right? Sometimes the person will create, they have a very creative mind, maybe they have strong imagination. People may create all sorts of things to subjugate their own relationship. They may imagine a lot of imaginary enemy that subjugate the relationship. Even though their spouse is faithful, it's mentally strong, and they will imagine a lot of things. They will become suspicious. That is the problem that from the sixth house. Okay, sometimes the enemy is not because the outside influence from other people. Sometimes the enemy is caused by themselves. They are the enemy for their own relationship, that imagine a lot of imaginary things that subjugate the relationship, right? So enemy is also about to see whether this person will create a lot of unreal enemy for seventh house, for their own relationship, that subjugate their own, ruin their own relationship. Okay, sixth house is also about health, right? So when a person always do exercise, pay attention to the diet, pay attention to the exercising routine, that will also help the strong foundation for the committed relationship. Why? Because if a person is not physically healthy, that can create some kind of burden in the seventh house, in the committed relationship. So look at the sixth house for all this kind of thing. Okay, look at whether the gate to the castle is strong or not, whether the two people fight for the gate, or just one single person fight to create a gate for the seventh house. Sometimes couple, one person is fighting and stay strong, set boundary, the other person may not. So look at the 6th house, whether 2 people fight to create this strong gate for the castle, for the 7th house stuff, or just 1 person. Okay, now it comes to the 7th house. This is, a lot of things have been talked about. So this is also about to look at 7th house, whether there may be strong cooperation in the 7th house. 7th house is better. There is some kind of cooperation, understanding of each other. 7th house is, also about whether 2 people are dominant or they are cooperation for each other. 7th house. To stay in a harmonious relationship, it's better that the couple will believe in each other. The couple will, there's no one-sided dominant. It's better that they have a 2-sided communication, working together instead of one energy dominating the other one. That will create some kind of problem if there's some kind of this kind of behavioral pattern in a relationship. When one stay dominant, if the other stay submissive, then it for a short while it might work in a relationship in 7th house. But if it goes on like this, the people, the submissive person may feel tired, or they may feel they seek out recognition from other people when this kind of thing happen for a long time. So it's better to create healthy relationship. 7th house is better to couple go hand in hand, have a mutual understanding, mutual communication. The relationships better stay this kind of balance. There's no one on top of each other, and they have to always match each other. When one is dominant, the other one trying to catch up, or there may be some kind of respect, mutual respect from the 7th house. Okay. 8th house is very important. 8th house is the backbone of the 7th house. And 8th house is to see whether a couple can stay for each other when there's some kind of obstacle, some kind of difficulty. Okay. When 7th house is shaken up, there's some kind of earthquake happen. 8th house is a strong. If 8th house is strong, no one can break a couple. Okay. 6th house. Okay, I already said 7th house is the castle. 6th house is the gate to the castle. Is the gate or the river or the cliff that protect. 6th house act as the protection to the castle. 7th house. And at the castle needs the pillars, need some support, and 8th house is the support to the 7th house. Okay. Look at the 8th house, whether the couple will stay for each other or not. 8th house, it's sometimes when you see the couple break, when the wife just leave the husband, when the husband go bankruptcy. Okay, this can be seen from the 8th house. Okay. 8th house is the backbone. Okay, if the 8th house is strong, the couple will stay for their couple, for their spouse, through ups and downs. 8th house is about ups and downs. If 8th house is strong, you can be sure, you can be certain that the person will stay for their spouse through ups and downs, through life and death. Nothing can break the relationship because of the 8th house. Alright? So to look at the 8th house, to look at whether there's some kind of strong foundation for the relationship. Look at all these houses, okay? So to assess whether the relationship, whether the committed relationship, whether marriage will work out or not, look at 6th house, 7th house, 8th house, okay? 6th house for protection, setting boundary, fighting for each other. 7th house, the mutual understanding, whether there's some kind of imbalance in the 7th house. It's better to have mutual understanding, mutual respect, mutual communication, working for each other, cooperating with each other. 7th house, the castle, and the 8th house, the backbone for this castle, backing up the 7th house. Okay, ups and downs in the 8th house. Yes, it's okay. Everyone goes ups and downs. Every couple will go through some difficulties, go through ups and downs. Whether the person will support their spouse or not, look at the 8th house, alright? If the 8th house is strong, then no matter what, this person will stay for their spouse through ups and downs, through a lot of difficulties. They will stay strong. They will stick to their spouse no matter what, okay? And also look at 9th house. 9th house is all the accumulated experience, that accumulated experience, the wisdom that passed down to the next generation, okay? When the couple retire, when they accumulated a lot of wisdom, when they have gone through a lot of difficulties, they survive the marriage, they survive the 8th house stuff, they survive the whole thing. They're going to talk about the wisdom. They are going to pass down all their stories, all the difficulties, all the overcoming of the difficulties, pass down the wisdom to their grandchildren, to the next generation, to the people that come along that need help for the marriage counseling, right? So 9th house, it's all of this kind of stuff. So I hope that you understand this video, and yes, to assess whether the marriage will work or not, don't just look at 7th house, look at 5th house, romance, children, whether the couple will stay romantic. There's a little bit romantic in a committed relationship. 6th house, protection, protect the castle, protect the 7th house. 7th house, mutual understanding, respect, all those kind of things. 8th house, the backbone for the marriage, going ups and down, whether they will stick together or not. Okay. 9th house, the sharing of the experience, the sharing of the wisdom for the next generation, teaching for the next generation, teaching for the grandchildren. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.